There are two things that stress me out the most. It's bad cable management and modifying other people's designs. And as someone who's very new to 3D modeling, it's a very common problem for most people. So I have this 6-port charging station that I bought from Satechi, and I've had some cable management stuff that I've bought from Amazon that has worked fairly fine. But as a maker and someone who has a 3D printer, I wanted to see if I can find a different solution where I can have a lot more charging cables just hanging from there, so I never have to worry about them dangling all over my desk. So I recently came across this design on Printables where this looks like a very simple design, and I was very intrigued and I wanted to test it out, see if I can put it on my desk, and if something breaks in the future I can just print more of these instead of having to buy more from Amazon. So I printed the biggest one that was available, and it was the 4 cable holder. I don't see any problem with the design other than my needs are way more than 4 cables. I wanted at minimum 8 cables that I can put through this, so I can have like long HDMI cables that are routing from my desk to a PlayStation, to the 6 charging cables that I have on there, to even other cables that I don't use often but may need in the future, and I don't want to dig around in my cable box. So I could have designed a solution from scratch, means taking inspiration from somewhere, making a very generic looking cable holder, and doing a lot of iterations to finally land on a design that I actually like and will be useful. And for projects like these where all I have to do is solve a little problem that I have, finding designs online and just modifying them is possibly the best solution here. Now I do design from scratch for these little problems that I want to solve, and one of the most recent ones I did, I wanted to make a little pegboard holder for this prying tool that I have, and I couldn't find any simple design that would actually solve this. So it took me about like 20 minutes to design this thing from scratch, where it has this little angle in the front, and all I have to do is just slide this in right here, and this is always mounted on the pegboard. So for these little things that don't really matter, this is great. But for a lot of different small problems that I want to solve, finding a design online is the best way to go. But for me to modify this design, it's a STL file. And if you know anything about 3D model files, STL files are not really meant to be modified. They're mostly for printing. And if you want to modify them, you have to convert them to an STEP file. The conversion of a STL file into a STEP file is not perfect, and it's not going to be as high quality as a raw STEP file that you get from a person who actually designed the model. But for a general solution like this, just converting it online and just modifying it gives you the best possible result, and the quality difference is pretty insignificant. Now, if you were doing a much bigger model, a much more complex model, and you were trying to modify it, I would understand where there may be some inconsistencies, some things don't fit together, but for a very simple design like this, it works perfectly fine. Okay, quick disclosure, I am part of the Shaper 3D Creator program, so I do get access to Shaper 3D Pro, but this video is not sponsored by them. It's a tool that I've already loved using for a long time, and I'm just excited to be a part of the Shaper 3D program. So here I download the STL file of this model that I want to modify, and then I upload it to this website called AnyConvert. It doesn't take too long, and once you download it, you can drag and drop it inside Shaper 3D, and I usually like to do the higher quality rather than speed, and then your model is converted to a STEP file. So what we're trying to achieve here is trying to remove the screw holes that are on the 2 sides, and then also expand it so the cable holders go from 4 cables to 8 cables. So I simply designed 2 rectangles on each side, so it deletes that shape from the cable holder, and then what we're left with is a 2 cable holder, and then if we just duplicate it 4 times, we will have what we want, which is the 8 cable holder. From there, once I think I'm at a good stopping point, I like to take my iPad, look around it, see if I see any flaws, anything that needs to be modified. You can place the item on a specific spot and you can look around it. And one really cool new feature of Shaper 3D is you can actually use Apple Vision Pro. I can take the same exact model, place it in front of me, and the beauty of it is I can move this model anywhere I want. And because this one is gonna go on the side of my desk, I can actually move it around and place it exactly where I think I'm gonna be placing it after it prints, and see how it looks. I can add colors to it. I can try red, white, whatever filament I may have, and I can test it how it's gonna look like after printing in the space that it's gonna go in. And I mean, this solves the issue that we've been talking about for decades of why we view 3D models in a 2D monitor. Now, it's not perfect. The Vision OS operating system is still pretty evolving, and this spatial feature is also pretty new, so you'll see some glitches like these, and I don't know if this is a Vision OS issue or a Shaper issue, but simply moving the app out of the way fixes that for me. Once I was happy with the design, I sent it out to the printer. I used PETG, and that's my preferred filament material for most things because it's relatively higher temperature resistant and strong enough, so it will last me on here for a very long time. And once it's done printing, all I have to do is take 2 3M tapes and then stick it to my desk. And this solves the problem of not having to drill anything in the desk with the screws, and a 3M tape solves that problem. So in the end, you really don't have to be a 3D modeling master to modify and solve little problems around your house if all you have is one 3D printer. And if my modified design is something you also want to print for yourself, I will link to it down in the description. It's gonna be a remix from the original model from the creator that actually made the original cable holder, and I will link all of that in the description below. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.